When I saw the advertisements for the first Angry Birds movie, I was not excited to see it, but Colton wanted to go. So when I went, it was okay, but was not one of my favorites. When I saw the advertisements for Angry Birds 2, I thought it looked funny and like a good movie, so I kind of wanted to go.
Interestingly, I think I was the opposite. I mean, I don't know that I wanted to go to the first one, but I knew we would go because Colton likes Angry Birds. So we went. It was okay. I laughed. I mean, there were parts of it. I mean, it borders between funny and disgusting in some ways. I mean, the
sometimes
whole,
annoying.
And annoying. The whole thing with the Mighty Eagle and stuff. I laughed. I'm not going to say it wasn't funny, but it was crude humor, and I was like, you know. So when this one was being advertised, I was actually like not really into going to see it. But I knew we would be going because you would want it. Well, I was surprised. You said you wanted to go.
Yes.
Now, why? Because it looked funny?
Yeah. When I saw the commercials, it looked very different from the first one. And I was kind of interested, but then there were like some funny parts that I thought weren't funny annoying. They were just funny.
Okay.
So I wanted to see what they wanted to do.
So it looked less annoying to you and more legitimately funny.
Right.
Yeah, because you right from the start, from the first trailer, you're like, I really want to see this. You were saying at that time to me, this one looks better than the first one, and I was thinking, where are you getting that from? But you were you strongly felt that it looked better.
Yeah.
And so we went. Is that where you wound up? Is it better for you than the first one, or?
It's definitely better. It's not one of my favorites again, though.
Okay.
So there were very disgusting parts.
Again, there's a lot of crude humor in it, and I think that's because the first movie had success with the crude humor, so they put that in again, and I don't know if they pushed it too far. Do you think they pushed it too far?
Not a lot, not as much as the first movie. The first movie they would just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it.
Right. Well, it went on and on. They extended the joke, and that was part of the humor, I guess. I was really tired when we went to this one. It was like a 7:30 showing, but I had a long day that day, so I was fighting to stay awake through part of it. I don't think that was the fault of the movie. I think that was more the day. I did notice that there was the characters, because we didn't have to establish who the characters were this time around. We knew who the characters were.
It wasn't as slow.
Right. It moved faster. There were more jokes. It was more humor. But the jokes weren't there just to be jokes. I mean, they worked. They worked within the context of the plot. In the plot, I thought this time was better. I thought that the antagonist, the evil character, was better this time around than the pigs were in the first one. The pigs are the allies in this one. The pigs ally themselves with the birds to fight the new enemy. And the new enemy actually has a decent backstory. I mean, the backstory works as to why that this person is doing this to them, or this bird is doing this to them. So I thought that was kind of cool. Most of the storyline worked. I mean, Red gets a little bit of a love interest this time around.
Yes.
Did that work for you, the little romance for Red?
Yeah, I didn't really care about that part of it, but...
But did it detract from the movie for you?
No, not really.
I mean, I thought it worked. It brings Chuck into it in a different way because Chuck has a relationship to the person who becomes Red's love interest, and there's a love-hate relationship with Red and this person initially. So that provides a lot of humor, I thought. Bomb had some good moments in this one too. I thought he had a funny part.
There was a side story which had a lot of funny parts, but not until the very, very end, it didn't really make sense or go in with.
I agree, and this is the little birds you're talking about, right? The baby birds, and
the hatchlings.
Yes, the hatchlings, and they have their own storyline that's kind of, like you said, it's moving separately from the main storyline through the whole course of the movie. And then they finally cross over, and it seems a little contrived. It seems like it's there just to bring the two storylines together. You know what it reminded me of? We went to Secret Life of Pets, and there was the rabbit. What's the rabbit?
Snowball.
Snowball. Snowball's story had nothing to do with the main story. There were 3 storylines going on. Snowball's was the one when we reviewed it.
Oh, yeah.
We both... Neither one of us thought the Snowball storyline worked within the realm. I thought the same thing for the hatchling storyline here. It was cute, but it should have been the cartoon before the cartoon.
Yeah.
Right? There was another cartoon that led in. It was a very touching cartoon. You guys thought it was a long preview. You didn't really realize what it was because it wasn't introduced and it didn't seem to fit with Angry Birds. It seemed like it was. It wasn't a natural lead into Angry Birds. Good story. It was called Hair Love, I think it was what it was called.
I think so.
Nice story. Didn't lead in well to Angry Birds. I think the Hatchling story could have been condensed and could have been like a little precursor to Angry Birds. Could have been its own little cartoon and whatever else if they want to use those characters. I agree with you. I thought it was like very funny.
Yes.
Very funny, very cute.
Especially the pink one.
Oh my goodness. And lots of laughter, but the plotting of that storyline, and then when they finally bring the two storylines together, it's very contrived. It didn't seem natural to me that they came together that way. And it was a lot like Snowball and Secret Life of Pets. And I had the same suggestion at that time that maybe Snowball get his own little cartoon prior to the main cartoon, and maybe work as a an opening act kind of thing. The villain work for you?
Yeah, I thought the bird was good.
Right, and I didn't understand what was going on there for a while with it, but it eventually kind of opened up the story, and the villain works a lot like a villain in a James Bond film. In a sense, there comes a point in the older James Bond films where the villain always goes, I'm going to take over the world, and this is why, and goes into their whole scheme. Like Doofenshmirtz on Phineas and Ferb, or that type of thing. Yeah. And it worked in that way. It was, definitely sort of a master villain kind of plot, but ultimately, there were reasons for it, and they worked it out in the plot, in the story, and it made sense. I thought it worked. Any characters that were really annoying for you this time around?
I think at first one of the pigs was annoying. I can't remember what the name was.
Right. Was it the one with the gadgets or the other one? Yeah, the one with the gadgets. Gary, I think, was it his name?
Yeah, I think so.
But the pigs are used for some good humor. They're for visual humor mainly, and it works fairly well.
Disgustingness.
Yes. And, we were actually, I don't know how this is going to do box office-wise, because the theater we were in, there were maybe 3 people down front. There was you, Colton, and I, and then there were 3 more people midway back, and that was it. That was all. It was a 7:30 showing. So, but it was a small town theater, nice theater, but not a lot of people there. They were laughing.
Yeah.
And we laughed out loud quite a bit. So,
I think there was just enough of the villain and the good side to come together.
Yes, I guess that's what I would say. My negatives. This isn't the best movie. This isn't one I'm going to highly recommend. It's sort of laid there for a lot of the movie, but the jokes would save it. You know what I mean? And I would laugh. So it wasn't but I couldn't heartily recommend this one like maybe some other ones that we've seen this summer, or even some older movies that we've recently reviewed. So, all right, well, yummy or crummy for you?
I'm giving this one an edible.
Yeah, I think I'm right about in the same place. I'll give it a little closer to yummy. I'm gonna say that it's not a badly plotted film necessarily. I think that one storyline doesn't fit. It's cute
and it's funny, but it does not fit.
It's something a family can go and you're gonna have a good time probably. So as a matinee, maybe I give it a yummy as a matinee, but as a night show, I give it an edible. How about that? Does that make sense?
There you go.
Okay. Well, I guess we've hatched our review. So. I don't know. I'm out on a limb. Anyway.
Be sure to check out some of today's other specials. Please subscribe and hit that little bell.